Of course, the purpose of this course is to talk about various tools and techniques to use as a business analyst. And of course, they're all valuable, but here I need to make a confession. SWOT analysis is one of my favorite techniques, and no doubt I will tell you why. So what's the purpose of SWOT analysis? We use it to analyze our current situation, or what we very often refer to as the current state, and how we compare to possible transformations we're considering. SWOT is an acronym referring to strengths and weaknesses tied to the change and opportunities and threats, which is referring to the world outside a corporation. If you think about it, you will realize you can use this technique for virtually anything where you're trying to assess your readiness. That's the strengths and weaknesses part, as well as any possible risks that might come your way. That's the opportunities and threats part. As you know from the previous video lecture titled Risk Management, a risk is just an unforeseen occurrence. So we know now that it doesn't have to be bad. Our key interest is making sure we've covered all the risks, and the result you will get from the opportunities and threats part of SWOT will be a very good start. So let's go through an example so that you have a better understanding. First, you go ahead and draw a grid on a matrix. Go ahead and put it in the letters S and W and O and T in the respective boxes. What question do we want to pose? How about we look at pursuing education via platforms like iVersity? You can't say I didn't pick out a topic you can't relate to, right? What about some of the strengths? Certainly the cost is one. How about the freedom to view the lectures anytime? If you don't understand something, you could always view it again, right? The forums are a great place to learn from your fellow students. You can study all kinds of subjects, and it's global. So you have the chance to get different viewpoints that you may or may not be able to actually get in your local university. So let's move on to the weaknesses. We are still trying to figure out all this MOOC stuff, and so we can't really say it's not quite clear what we get. So if I go to a university, I have the pressure to go do the work. Nobody's standing behind me to tell me to attend a video lecture. Sometimes just learning in front of a computer is not always enriching. I'm sure we can come up with a few more, but let's move on. Opportunities. Let me count the ways. Remember, these are forces coming from the outside and should be seen as being our positive risks, right? Well, the opportunity to have access to a course like this is definitely a plus, right? Okay, well, I'm a little bit biased on that one. I'll move on. Certainly to have access to so many courses can be even overwhelming. Although you might not always feel this way, you're the master of your own destiny, at least when learning is concerned. Time is on MOOC's side, and we will see models that will embrace this style of learning. I'm not sure how long it will take, but here I suspect it won't take long. In addition, we see that the MOOC tail is wagging the educational dog, which means that the means by which the education is presented will more closely mirror what we find within the MOOCs, okay? What threats do we have here? Well, one is that this time that we spend on massive open online courses will be for naught, and we will never get the credit for all this time slaving in front of the notebook. Another issue might be the compromise made to make education entertaining, although this lecture sees no conflict between these two worlds. Perhaps you can think of a threat or two here, but I'm really struggling, to be honest. All right, I hope you enjoyed this exercise and have a better appreciation to what can be done with a SWOT analysis. Please feel free to experiment a bit. It might even change the way that you look at risks. Especially if you live in Central Europe. That alone would be a revolution. Thanks for stopping by.